When sellers ask me, how much is my North Shore home really worth? What they're usually asking is something deeper. They're asking, how do I price this so I don't leave money on the table? How do I protect myself from regret? And how do I do this without unnecessary stress? And the truth is, in today's North Shore luxury market, pricing is not about picking the perfect number. Pricing is an invitation for the market to respond, an invitation for buyers to raise their hand and say, yes, this is something I need to act on right now. This is where online estimates fall apart. They treat pricing like math, but buyers don't shop based on math. They behave with emotion, and they behave like people. They react to urgency. They react to scarcity. They react to how a home feels relative to everything else they're seeing. In a competitive seller market like we're in right now, the goal is not to guess the final sales price. The goal is to position the home in the correct pricing bracket so the market can do its job. And when that bracket is right, the market corrects. Let me show you what I mean. Buyers do not walk into a home and think in exact dollar amounts. They think in ranges. They think, this feels like a good value. They're very savvy and they know what the new listing should be. This feels like a stretch, or this is gonna sell fast. Those reactions determine behavior, and behavior is what determines the price. That's why I spend far more time with the prep and talking about our pricing strategy than pricing numbers. I never dictate the sales price. We make an educated decision using data. There are 3 primary pricing strategies I discuss with our North Shore luxury sellers. None of them are right or wrong on their own. It's a strategy. The right one depends on the seller's goals, the property, and the moment that we're in. The first is aspirational pricing. Aspirational pricing is when a seller has very specific number in mind, not because the market demanded it, but because that is a number that represents success for them and their goals. I had a seller like this. She wanted a certain price in specific terms, without all the hoopla of constant showings and weeks of disruption. Her priority was clarity. If I get this price, Caroline, I'll be happy. So instead of pushing for maximum exposure, we priced the home at the number that would meet her goals. And she was okay with it if it took a little bit longer, or that she had room to negotiate. It allowed her to accept the right offer immediately. As it turned out, we had several showings, and within a few days, the home sold at the asking price. No long showing window, no extended uncertainty. A solid deal that met her expectations, because after all, I represent the seller. I want to make them happy. And this is aspirational pricing done correctly. It works when the seller is clear on their goal, the price is still defensible in the market, we're not pie in the sky, and the expectations are aligned around timing and exposure. It does not work when aspirational pricing is used as a way to test the market indefinitely, because aspirational pricing often trades urgency for negotiation. And that's okay when the seller understands the trade-off. The second strategy is what I call the perceived market value pricing. This is when the home is listed right where similar homes are currently under contract. We don't know what this final sales price will be, but we can tell based on their market time how close it is to the asking price. And we won't know the final sales price until it closes. But based on market time, showing activity, and buyer behavior, we can make an educated assessment that those homes are selling close to where they're listed. And calling the listing agent may give us some insights as well. And this strategy often feels safe. And I understand why. It feels logical. It feels defensible. I saw this clearly in an estate sale I handled. There were 4 family members involved. Not everyone agreed on our asking price. We landed slightly above what I would have recommended for event pricing, which we'll talk about next. But it was not drastically higher, just enough that some buyers told us it felt a bit high. Still, we had a decent number of showings. We had multiple offers the first weekend. The home sold $10,000 over asking. But here's the important part. That first deal did not stay together. And because we had leverage, because we had competition, we were able to go with a backup offer and still close successfully. This is where sellers need to hear an uncomfortable truth. Market value is defined very simply. On any given day, what is a buyer willing to pay for a home? Agent doesn't decide that. The seller certainly doesn't decide that. The buyer does through offers and terms. And the seller can decide not to take that. But as a seller's representative, it would be irresponsible for me to promise a sales price. What I can do is create leverage so that the seller has options, because options protect outcomes. And our third pricing strategy, and my personal favorite, this is a strong seller's market, and we call it event pricing. This is where the home is positioned slightly below what others are selling for, not because it's worth less. Remember, we talked about it's an invitation to make an offer, but because we want buyers to immediately see the value. They know all the current inventory, so when a new listing pops up, they know where it should be priced. And when a new listing hits the market, a buyer thinks, this is a good deal. Their behavior changes. They don't wait. They don't negotiate casually. They act. They are ready, willing, and able. In today's Northbrook market, the average sales price is over 100% of the list. Market time is roughly 37 days. Scarcity drives price. You cannot underprice a home in this environment. The market will correct. Let me give you a real example of when event pricing works extremely well. I worked with sellers who had a beautiful home, not just the biggest on the block and not brand new, but incredibly well maintained and staged. It showed great. Instead of pricing at what looked like the safe number on paper, we priced slightly below where buyers are expected to land. And what happened next mattered. In the first few days, showings stacked up. Buyers didn't walk through saying, we'll think about it. They walked through saying, we need to act fast. That shift from curiosity to urgency is the entire point of event pricing. The result wasn't just a strong price. It was leverage on terms, pricing, and certainty. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens by design. Here's the mistake sellers make with event pricing. They hear price a little lower when I say that, and they assume it means leaving money on the table. But that's not how it works. Event pricing only works when the home is fully prepared, the marketing is tight, and buyer depth actually exists at that price point. If demand isn't there, the strategy fails. And if execution is sloppy, the strategy fails. But when demand is there, event pricing often produces results that perceived market pricing never could, because competition changes buyer behavior. I want to be really clear about something. Event pricing isn't reckless, it's controlled. The risk isn't pricing slightly below perceived market value. The risk is overpricing and slowly chasing the market down while buyers lose interest. With event pricing, we're controlling. We control the timing, the buyer philosophy, and momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in real estate. Sellers often worry they're leaving money on the table. But what actually happens is the opposite. By creating buzz and demand, we increase interest. Interest creates competition. Competition drives the price. This is where sellers often pause and ask, why wouldn't we just price it at perceived market value and see what happens? That's a fair question. Perceived market pricing attracts buyers who are evaluating options. Event pricing attracts buyers who feel they're about to lose an opportunity. Neither's wrong, it just creates a very different energy. And the right choice depends on your timeline, your tolerance for uncertainty, and how much leverage you want at the closing table. But price is not the only advantage. Multiple offers give sellers choice, and choice is power. Maybe it's not the highest price. Maybe it's a little longer closing timeline. Maybe it's a rent back situation that allows time to complete a move for the seller. Maybe it's fewer contingencies. And having a backup offer protects the seller if the first deal falls apart. That safety net matters. This is why early strategy conversations are so important. I ask sellers up front, what is your ideal closing date? How do you feel about showings? Do you have pets or family logistics we need to manage? Is short-term inconvenience worth long-term gain? Some sellers want minimal disruption. Others are comfortable with intensity if it maximizes their outcome. There's no wrong answer. What are the goals that the seller wants? But the pricing strategy has to align with the lifestyle reality too. This is also why I say pricing is an invitation. You don't need to nail down the final number. You need to invite the right response. When the bracket is correct, the market responds quickly. Buyer behavior tells us we're positioned correctly, if urgency exists, and if leverage is building. That feedback loop is far more valuable than any estimate. This is why I don't believe in a single answer to the question, what is my home worth? Because value isn't just about the house. It's about strategy, timing, and what kind of buyer response you want to create. And that's why pricing is never just a number. It's a decision. So instead of asking, what would you list it at? I encourage sellers to ask, what signals are you watching? How will we know if the market agrees? And when do we adjust and why? Pricing should never be static. It should be responsive, intentional, and grounded in real behavior. At the end of the day, your home is worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it on any given day, and that changes under the conditions that you create. The strategy determines whether that buyer is cautious or competitive, whether you get one offer or several, and whether you walk away with confidence or lingering questions or even regret. If you're thinking about selling, my advice is simple. Don't obsess over the number. Focus on the strategy. When pricing is positioned correctly, the market will tell us the rest. And the strongest outcomes come from inviting the market in, not guessing what it might say. Please share this video with a friend who may want to learn about my pricing strategy. I'm Caroline Gow with Real in the North Shore of Chicago. Bye for now.